King Harris just got arrested again, but this time the situation is way more serious than anyone music expected. After being hit with major charges, reports are now saying he could be facing a heavy sentence, and some fans are worried this could music completely change his future. What's making things even more emotional is that King Harris reportedly apologized to T.I. following the situation, and the reaction online has been intense. In this video, we're going to break down everything that happened, what led to this moment, and what could happen next. So prepare yourself. On the early morning of Sunday, April 13th, 2026, around 1 a.m., Gwinnett County police officers clocked King Harris, the 21-year-old son of T.I. and Tiny, driving 60 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone. That's how this started, a routine traffic stop. Cops pulled him over. When they approached the vehicle, officers reported seeing a firearm inside the car. They ordered King to get out. He didn't. King Harris refused to exit the vehicle, which led to his arrest for obstruction. Officers removed him from the car, and during the subsequent search, they found something, Elsa vape pen containing 10 milligrams of THC. That single vape pen turned what could have been a traffic ticket into something far heavier. He was booked on a felony charge for possession of a controlled substance, a misdemeanor charge of willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, and hit with 2 traffic citations for seatbelt violation and speeding. Now here's the detail that made this story travel across the internet at warp speed. When police arrested King Harris that night, he wasn't in a hoodie, he wasn't in streetwear. He was wearing a full-body Pikachu onesie. A grown man, the son of one of hip-hop's most iconic figures, getting cuffed in a Pokemon costume at 1 a.m. with a gun in the car and a THC vape pen. The mug shot, the outfit, all of it went viral, music within hours. And King, he didn't exactly seem rattled by the experience. He documented the entire incident on his Instagram stories, sharing selfies in his Pokemon outfit and mocking the situation. He posted a video of himself still in the Pikachu suit with a caption that compared the police to Team Rocket from the Pokemon cartoon. He wrote in part that he'd been living a good Pikachu life in Tokyo, then came back to Atlanta and got caught. He even dropped a follow-up post, "Man, Pikachu is free. FK Team Rocket." This is not the post of a person who understands the gravity of a felony charge. This is the behavior of someone who treats a booking like content, a story to tell, a punchline to land. Harris was released from custody after posting bond, but the charges remain open, and those charges are stacking on top of a history that is becoming increasingly difficult to write off as youthful indiscretion. Because this moment didn't appear from nowhere, it sits on top of a long, winding trail of legal incidents, public confrontations, family tensions, and reckless decisions. That have defined King Harris's young adult life. And to understand how he got here, we have to go back. Clifford Joseph Harris III, that's King Harris's legal name. He was born in 2004 to Clifford T.I. Harris Jr. and Tamika Tiny Harris, 2 of Atlanta's most prominent entertainment figures. He grew up in the public eye as a star on his own family's reality show, The Family Hustle. That show put the entire Harris family on camera. The vacations, the arguments, the discipline, the love, the chaos. And right in the middle of it was a kid named King, growing up with the whole world watching. But the name itself carries weight far beyond a VH1 reality series. T.I. is not just a rapper, he's a convicted felon. The rapper served time in the 2000s on drug and gun charges, including a federal stint. Specifically, T.I. was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison in order to pay a $1,300 fine on weapons charges related to purchasing machine guns and silencers. That's not a traffic violation. That's federal. Harris was caught in a federal sting after his bodyguard turned informant delivered 3 machine guns and 2 silencers to him. He had paid $12,000 for those weapons, and the reason he wasn't legally allowed to have them. Harris was not permitted to own any guns because he was convicted in 1998 on felony drug charges, possession of crack cocaine with intent to distribute in Cobb County, in suburban Atlanta. So, I had already been a convicted drug felon before the gun sting. 2 strikes. And when he went to federal court for sentencing, something remarkable happened. More than 100 letters from officials were submitted to the sentencing judge, thanking him for his community service since the weapons arrest. One of those letters came from the Chief Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court, who praised T.I. for speaking to teenagers about not breaking the law. If only one young person in that courtroom listened to Mr. Harris, and I believe they all did, we are all better for it, she wrote. Even former Atlanta Mayor and UN Ambassador Andrew Young spoke at the sentencing on T.I.'s behalf. T.I. served his time, came out rebuilt. He made music, he starred in films, he ran businesses, he raised his family, and he became, publicly at least, a man who had survived the system and used his story as a cautionary tale. But the deeper irony of that story is that the very things T.I. tried to warn against appear to have found their way into his own household. Because King Harris, the boy born into that legacy, didn't just inherit the fame or the fortune. He appears to have inherited the pattern of reckless decisions, too, though without the charm or the legal leverage that his father once had. King began pursuing music under the stage name Kid Scion in 2020, experimenting with trap music and melodic hip-hop. He dropped singles. He dropped an EP, a thin line between a king and a plier, in 2021. Music. He joined the improv comedy series Wild and Out and made a guest appearance on Wash Wars. He was building a brand. He had the name recognition. He had the platform. But even as that career was forming, so was a pattern. In September 2022, Harris was involved in a verbal altercation at a Waffle House in Atlanta that drew public attention after a video of the incident surfaced online. The footage showed King getting into a heated exchange with employees over a messed-up food order. During an appearance with The Morning Hustle, Harris confirmed that his complaint was over getting pickles, music, after explicitly saying he did not want them. He said he asked a staffer to remake his order, but was given attitude. According to King, the employee threw the food on the ground and refused to remake it. And what could have been a simple moment of frustration between a customer and a fast food worker escalated into an Instagram Live event where King and a Waffle House employees traded insults, music, and King suggested they take the issue outside. "I'll show you what I do. Come here. Come on," he said in the video, all over pickles on a sandwich. Music. His parents later addressed the incident publicly, defending their son while acknowledging the challenges of growing up in the spotlight. But the Waffle House incident was a warning shot that few seemed to take seriously. It showed a young man with a short fuse, a need for confrontation, and an impulse to broadcast his conflicts to the world for validation. Then came a collision with his own family. In November 2023, Harris was involved in a widely publicized argument with his father, T.I., during a live-streamed family event. The dispute began during an Atlanta Falcons football game where Harris appeared on Instagram Live while arguing with both of his parents about his upbringing on camera in public. He claimed he had been raised primarily by his grandmother rather than in luxury, a statement that both T.I. and Tiny Music disputed in real time. It was awkward, it was uncomfortable, and it exposed something that went deeper than a teenage tantrum. There was a disconnect between who King believed he was and who his parents believed they'd raised. That disconnect became far more tangible in 2024. In October 2024, Harris was arrested in Dunwoody, Georgia, after being pulled over while driving a BMW. Police reported that he nearly collided with a patrol car when leaving a gas station. When officers approached the car, they detected the odor of marijuana and found Harris carrying a firearm on his hip, which was removed without incident. That's guns and marijuana in the same stop for a 20-year-old. During that stop, police also discovered that King had an outstanding warrant from Pickens County for failing to appear in court. That warrant was connected to an even earlier incident from August 2022 when he was charged with speeding, knowingly driving a motor vehicle on a suspended license, and driving under the influence of drugs. He'd been charged for those offenses, but apparently never showed up for court. So, by the time he was 20, King Harris had a suspended license, DUI charges, a failure to appear warrant, a firearm found on his body during a marijuana-related stop, and a pattern of confrontational behavior captured on camera for the internet to see. 2 other individuals in the vehicle with King were charged with less than an ounce of possession of marijuana. King himself was taken to DeKalb County Jail. On the day following his arrest, he was released to Pickens County, and the bench warrant was recalled. Those Pickens County charges were officially dropped in August 2025, and yet somehow T.I. still found a way to keep things light. Just before King's October arrest, T.I. had been on radio talking about family. He revealed that King was expecting his first child and joked about how he was going to raise his grandson. King's about to have a son, and I told him I'm going to make this the greatest gangster of all time, he said, laughing. I will raise this child to torture you the way you tortured me. It was a joke, but beneath the humor was a father who knew his son had become a handful. If anyone thought the legal issues were the peak of King Harris's recklessness, early 2026 proved them spectacularly wrong. Because the young man didn't just find trouble with the law. He picked a fight with one of the most ruthless trolls in all of hip-hop music, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. The much-publicized back and forth between the two camps took over timelines in February 2026 when the Harris family, T.I., and sons Domani and King released a slew of diss tracks aimed music at 50. The origins of the feud were tangled and layered. While the origins of their feud date back to a failed Versus battle between T.I. and 50 Cent, things escalated once 50 posted music, an old video of T.I. online, followed by subsequent memes dissing the Harris family in total. Music, 50 wasn't just coming for T.I. The friction intensified when 50 posted content referencing Tiny Harris, King's mother. That's when the sons got involved. T.I., Domani, and King all dropped diss records. For 2 weeks, it seemed like T.I. wouldn't let up dropping diss tracks toward 50. And King, true to his nature, didn't just participate. He went scorched earth. He didn't just make a song, he made a statement. And the statement was a t-shirt. When asked when he felt things went a little too far in the beef, T.I. pointed directly at the video of King, wearing a shirt with 50's deceased mother on it. 50 Cent's mother, Sabrina Jackson, passed away tragically when 50 was still a child. Her memory is, by all accounts, sacred to him. And King Harris put her image on a t-shirt, music, and wore it publicly as a taunt. During the online barrage, 50's late mother was mentioned, a move many fans called out as crossing a line. T.I. was blunt about it in a later interview. I said that's enough when I seen that t-shirt, he told the Ebro, Laura Rosenberg show. I'm big on treating people the way I want to be treated, he added. Music, I don't just be out here doing unto others how I don't want to be dealt with. But they're like, it's in response. It's over with. Let that surety go, man. And when asked if he enjoyed watching his sons jump into the beef, T.I. didn't hesitate. No, I don't enjoy it, he said. Music, I spent so much time trying to get this Lil N.A. off the ledge. Now, he has justifiable means to undo all of the teaching that I've been teaching. There it was, a father admitting in public that his son was actively dismantling the lessons he tried to instill for 2 decades. Not with a laugh this time. Not with a joke about raising a grandson to be a gangster. Music with resignation. But T.I. also admitted there was a silver lining, barely. He said he was proud of how both his sons defended their mother. To make a Tiny Harris, Music, who became the butt of several since-deleted memes posted by 50. The one thing that I'm proud of this is that the women and children in our family see that it's a line of men that's here against who the FK ever, he said. King Harris, for his music part, did eventually attempt to walk part of it back. King Harris reached out to 50 Cent's son, Marquise Jackson, saying what he said was out of emotion and he wanted to chop it up man to man. He tried to separate the sons from the smoke, but the damage was already done. The image of that t-shirt was already seared into the internet's memory, and King's own explanations only underscored the contradiction. In later interviews, Harris, Music, defended his decision to wear a shirt with 50 Cent's late mother's face on it, citing the need to defend his own mother after feeling provoked. You post my mama. You got this ST going on for a lifetime. Why can't I do the same with y'all? He said. He acknowledged that he doesn't speak on the dead, but when it came to defending his mother, he said, "Whatever we gotta go, we're going to go there." Even though he admitted he hates how everything transpired, he made clear he'd match 50's music energy however it came. Meanwhile, 50 has yet to respond on a record, and it looks like he won't be doing so anytime soon. 50 doesn't need to make a record. He runs a media, music empire, and reports have since surfaced that 50 began producing a documentary project connected to Music TI. And Tiny, another layer of pressure on a family already under siege. So where does this all lead? Let's lay it out plainly. Music King Harris is 21 years old. He has accumulated a troubling legal record despite Music, his famous parents. He's had run-ins with the law since at least 2022. The charges have included DUI, driving on a suspended license, possession of marijuana, failure to appear, obstruction, and now felony drug possession. A firearm has been found during at least 2 of those encounters. His social media activity after each incident has ranged from defiant to openly mocking. And here's the part that should worry everyone who cares about this young man. Music his father, T.I., has been a convicted felon since 1998. T.I. was convicted on felony drug charges, Music possession of crack cocaine with intent to distribute. He later added federal weapons charges on top of that. And T.I. managed to survive the system because he had a rare combination: music of celebrity, community support, exceptional legal counsel, and genuine charm. He had a Georgia Supreme Court Chief Justice vouching for him. He had a former U.N. ambassador speaking at his sentencing music hearing. He had completed over 1,000 hours of community service before he ever set foot inside a prison cell. That's not a playbook that most people, even most celebrity children, can replicate. T.I. warned in 2022 that King's behavior could lead to prison time. He's spoken publicly about guiding his son away from the streets. Music, drawing from his own past incarcerations. Those warnings weren't hypothetical. They came from a man who had been through it himself. Music, a man who had watched his own freedom evaporate because of guns and drugs and bad decisions. And yet, the very week of his latest arrest, Music, King Harris was cracking Pokemon jokes on Instagram. He was comparing police officers to cartoon villains. He was treating a felony like a content opportunity. No formal statement has been issued, Music, by Harris or his representatives regarding the legal seriousness of the situation. His parents, Music T.I. and Tiny Harris, have not yet released a public statement regarding the Sunday morning arrest. The silence from the family. Music says something on its own. This isn't the first time they've had to respond to their son's legal issues, but maybe the first time the weight of it all is too heavy for a quip or a joke, because there's a version of this story that ends Music badly. Not because of one vape pen or one traffic stop, but because of the cumulative pattern. The inability to show up for court dates, the refusal to comply with officers, the escalating confrontations, the public feuds, and the apparent belief that the name Harris provides a permanent shield against real consequences. King Harris now faces multiple charges that could have long-lasting effects. As the case proceeds through the legal system, it remains uncertain whether his online comments will lead to further legal consequences. But what is certain is that every arrest builds a file, every felony adds weight, and every mocking Instagram story builds a profile that a future judge or prosecutor can point to as evidence of a young man who refuses to take the system seriously. T.I. once stood in a federal courtroom and heard a judge acknowledge his efforts to change. He had earned that moment. The question now, the question that no one in King Harris's orbit seems willing to answer publicly, is whether his son will ever have to stand in a similar courtroom, and whether when that moment comes, there will be anything to say on his behalf beyond a list of missed court dates and viral mugshots in a Pikachu onesie, because the system doesn't care about your last name. It doesn't care about your father's discography, and it will not be impressed by a Pokemon costume.